I know Democrats always like to point to Scandinavian countries, but I'm going to do it. One thing you notice about those countries, which do have a pretty high tax burden, but the reason there's also a higher sense among people that it's fair is that they get good results. They have good healthcare and good education. And that doesn't just happen because you put the money in. But if you put the money in and you do it right, then the public's going to be more trusting, right? That you're getting something out of those tax dollars.
So I think it's easy to do when like every girl's hot.
Huh?
Mayor Pete went on Andrew Schulz's podcast and hit him with facts. They talked about taxes, trust, and what people get for their money. Did Mayor Pete just school Andrew Schulz? Let's watch.
Back to that.
You have Bernie and AOC who clearly have a message that's resonating. Why isn't the party getting behind that?
So I think a lot of what they have to say will get more and more traction in the party, especially on the economic piece, right? This idea that you have a lot of regular people in regular life getting screwed over by the way things work. And if we don't have better services and fairer taxes, like we're just never going to get through that.
And it's thrown in their face. And it's thrown in their face quite often. Look how great Biden's economy is. Look at the stock market. And they're like, that doesn't affect me at all.
Cereal's $10.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I would feel deeply offended if I was them, especially when you throw that kind of support behind, one specific party. And I think that's why you saw a lot of them start to migrate. So then what do you do? Like, how do you get working class people back?
Well, first, I think we need to be more disciplined and louder about that economic message. That, look, to be clear, we will be advancing policies that make sure you are economically better off. What does that mean? That means that you can, the one thing I think people do give us a lot of credit for is healthcare, but there's more to do on that, right? We're not going to let them tear up Obamacare. We're going to make sure that there is a fairer tax code, not just standing against the tax cuts for the rich that he's about to push through Congress, but actually having a tax code where there's not a benefit to a corporation, like moving billions of dollars overseas, where there's not a benefit to kind of hiding your worth, where you're not better off basically with wealth than work, which is where the tax code is right now. I think need to be much more clear about what we would provide in terms of services for people. We're the only country, I think maybe Papua New Guinea is the only other country in the world that doesn't do a policy for parental leave, some level of national guarantee that when you have a kid,
don't start this, bro.
You will get leave.
Don't start this, man. I got people trying to have kids working at this company right here. we cannot recover from this financially.
It can be done, I promise, because we did it when I was mayor. We did it locally for city employees, and
we at our company we pay for anybody that wants to have their eggs frozen.
It's great.
We don't hire women, though. But we will pay.
There's always a loophole. There's always some type of loophole, dude. These middle rich, we need to tax them. The cost of eggs are too high, bro.
Wow. I tease. See what you did.
But yes, we should absolutely pay for it.
But sorry, I'll let you finish, and then I had another question based on.
But I think there are also some things that we need to kind of rewire in the way government works to make it work better for people. And I lived this. So for example, I'm watching them basically burn the federal government down. And obviously I've got problems with the way they're destroying, cancer research or making it harder for the FAA to keep airplanes safe. A lot of that is bad. But I will also admit that I have been furious and frustrated with the way things work in our federal government. And it's actually gotten to where it makes it harder to do things that I think progressives in particular care about. Building things, building housing, building roads and bridges, which I lived for 4 years, building clean energy projects, stuff we should objectively definitely be doing. And we've gotten in our own way with these layers of process, layers of procedure, all of them introduced with good intentions, but which collectively have made it almost impossible or unaffordable to do anything.
So you want less regulations?
So we need they need to be smarter, and there needs to be less procedure. Still powerful regulations to keep people safe.
So there should be a department to make sure the government is efficient. I think that's really a great, I think that's.
Mayor Pete is making a clear point to Andrew Schulz. Democrats need to push the ideas people already like. Mayor Pete talks about stopping tax breaks for the rich, ending loopholes for big corporations, and giving people things they can actually use, like cheaper healthcare and paid family leave. Mayor Pete says other countries have this and it works. Here, we're one of the only nations without national paid leave. Instead of letting companies hide money overseas, Mayor Pete says use it to fix roads, help families, and make the system fair. The message from Mayor Pete to Andrew Schulz is that the party loses people when it stays quiet on the issues that actually make life better. If voters can see a real change in their bills, their streets, or their health care, they'll start believing those tax dollars are worth it.
Okay, Pete, here's the actual question I have.
Bad.
I hear a lot of what you're saying is tax the rich, they need to pay their taxes. I remember moving from Texas to California. Texas, I started paying taxes, and it was like, I remember I was working at Verizon Wireless and doing a horrible job selling cell phones, and my commission would get taxed at like 40%. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But then I'm driving, the roads suck. The schools, from what I heard, sucked. New York, same thing. Very high taxes. There's no Second Avenue subway. Schools are horrible. Right. If you have any kind of money, it seems like you're sending your kids to private schools, or you live in such a rich neighborhood that the public school is basically a private school. What? The tax money seems like it gets wasted and doesn't get used wisely. So I have like an aversion to, they should pay their taxes, because my reaction is, I've seen what happens when people pay taxes.
I agree with that, what he said about California. I think what he said about California was
I'm not going to shit on one state or another, but good. There is obviously a relationship between the results you see and your willingness to trust that there's anything you're getting out of your tax dollars.
My trust is very low.
Especially with Americans' trust is very low, right? And if you look at, I know Democrats always like to point to Scandinavian countries, but I'm going to do it. One thing you notice about those countries, which do have a pretty high tax burden, but the reason there's also a higher sense among people that it's fair is that they get good results. They have good healthcare and good education. And that doesn't just happen because you put the money in. But if you put the money in and you do it right, then the public's going to be more trusting, right? That you're getting something out of those tax dollars.
So I think it's easy to do when like every girl's hot.
This guy.
No, like, have you been to Scandinavia? It's like every girl's hot, right? So
you're asking the wrong guy.
Sorry, the dudes are hot there too. The dudes are good-looking guys. If you're into that look, I don't know if you're into that look.
Andrew Schulz jokes about Scandinavia, but Mayor Pete is serious. People there pay higher taxes because they actually get results. Mayor Pete says they have good schools, safe roads, and healthcare that doesn't leave you with a huge bill. That builds trust. People see their money working for them, so they're okay with paying more. Mayor Pete tells Andrew Schulz that the U.S. has plenty of money, but it's spent in the wrong places. We pour billions into wars, defense projects, and things most people never see in their daily life. Meanwhile, schools are underfunded, roads are falling apart, and healthcare costs are crushing families. Mayor Pete's point is that if you want people to trust taxes, they have to see clear results right where they live. Mayor Pete is saying you don't have to love taxes to accept them. You just have to feel like you're getting something back. If you fix a road, open a new clinic, make school lunches free, or give parents paid time off, people will see the value. That's what changes minds, even for someone like Andrew Schulz, who is skeptical about government spending. What do you think? Are you with Mayor Pete or Andrew Schulz on this one? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more breakdowns like this. See you in the next one.